Hi everyone, how are you doing today? This will be a bit of a different video than my usual. Today I'll be sharing some photos and memories of the time I visited Haworth, England with my family. This was many years ago now when I was a teenager, and we were there in the winter time. This was not really planned, but for a variety of reasons, our original booked travel was rescheduled for December, so we ended up going to the UK in winter. And it was a very cold winter that year, or so it seemed to me. But what a beautiful and magical experience to see the UK at Christmas time or close to Christmas. And obviously, not a popular tourist time, at least for international visitors. I think most people try to go in the summer months, but we were there off season and got to see a different side of England, which I think was really instrumental in many years later now, thinking about whether I would actually want to live here or not through all the seasons. And so, these memories were a big part of that. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this experience because it is one of the major literary locations I've had a chance to visit in the UK. My dad drove us all around the UK, and we went up to York, which was amazing, and out to Haworth, which is associated with the Brontë sisters. They weren't born there, but they spent a great deal of their life at the parsonage there. You can still see the parsonage and church where their father was the vicar, but we didn't get a chance to see all that because I think we went out towards the end of a day. Maybe it was even a Sunday or something. Everything was kind of closed or starting to close down. But we got to see the Yorkshire countryside in the snow. And I just remember just looking out the window and seeing all these rolling snowy hills with the beautiful oak trees and things in the distance. We saw some sheep as well, but thinking, wow, this feels really lonely and it's so beautiful, but it just feels very far from things. And, instantly you can see why the Brontë sisters and their brother ended up developing this rich interior life, because they were so far from things and people. Although, of course, Charlotte would go on to study and teach in Brussels, but, certainly for much of their life, they were out in this countryside, in this small village. And when you get there, the other thing that struck me is it does feel very, what's the word? It just feels very shaped by history. I mean, the street itself, the main street there, is on an incline, and so you're walking up the hill a bit as you go through the cobbled streets. And we saw a couple of references to the Brontë sisters, well, one or two, which I'll show here in the pictures. But yeah, we got to walk around. We got to, see the churchyard, and in the night in the snow, it looked very atmospheric indeed. And I think my fondest memory is we stopped in a little cafe to get some food. We had some jacket potatoes, and the lady there was closing up for the day, and she offered to give us all the leftover scones from the end of the day. Currant scones, I think. And she put them all in a bag and gave them to us, and we ended up snacking on those after we got home, because when you're traveling with a whole family, you take any little snacks you can find, I guess. But I just thought she was very kind and sweet and left such a good impression on me, and remember her all this time past. I mean, this has been probably, it's close on, it's actually over 15 years ago now, but I can remember specific people we met in the UK during our visits there in those years, and how kind and lovely they were. So I don't have any memories of going to see any of the Brontë sisters things or anything, because again, we didn't get to go into any of their rooms or their home. But being able to step into their world, if just for a little bit, and see Haworth in the snow, in the bleak midwinter, left such an impression on me. And I'm really looking forward to going back one of these days, maybe in the summer months, and seeing a different side of it. But such a beautiful, beautiful memory. Here's a little interesting tidbit I read on Wikipedia today. So as many of you know, many members of the Brontë family passed away. Charlotte and Emily and Anne lost some of their siblings, and so their father had some people come out and investigate, what's going on, why are so many people dying in this village. And they figured out that the conditions were very unsanitary for a variety of reasons, and that led to improvements being done there in the village. But yeah, just such a hard life people lived back then, and so much they didn't know. And it's just, it's helpful to kind of put all that in context and reflect on it, because we have so many blessings today and things that we know. And, obviously our lifespans are much longer, but going back to these places these authors lived, we can get a real sense of what they lived through, because so much of the environs are still there, and the beauty that you find in the Brontë sisters' work is absolutely still very much present where they grew up. So I'm going to be sharing a few of these stories over the coming weeks. I will be away a bit this month, so it may not be very consistent, but I'm going to try to share some of these pictures and things from different places I've been, and let me know if you've been to any of these places and if there's any places you'd recommend me to visit. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.